Welcome to College Admissions Toolbox, giving you the edge you need to get into the colleges of your dreams, with your host, Steve Schwartz. That's me. Hey guys, thanks for joining me for this intro episode. This show's for you if you're in high school and stressed about applying and looking for that extra push. I've been there. So I created this show because I want to help you get into college, but not just any college. On this show, I'm all about helping you get into those schools everyone tells you are out of your reach. Because a lot of times, your test scores and GPA aren't going to be enough to set you apart. So we're going to be all about figuring out how to stand out. Because at the end of the day, we've got to make these schools want to accept you. So I've given it a lot of thought, about the best way to do this. And I decided that every week, I'm going to talk with experts about everything college admissions. A lot of it's going to be about college essays because that's something I know a lot of you guys are trying to figure out. But we'll also cover test prep and scholarships. Really, anything at all that can give you an edge is fair game in my book. I've worked in college admissions for a long time now. And what I found over and over is that it's not really about test scores and GPA. I mean, sure, they matter, but it's all about the other stuff that can really set you apart. Like what you've done in clubs and things outside of school. But it's not just enough to do impressive things. What really matters is how you talk about them in your college essays. And I want to help you do that as well as you possibly can. I want to let you know a bit more about me, why I created this podcast, and what you can expect. I've got to admit, I was kind of lazy as a high school freshman. My grades were fine, but nothing really impressive. And I really never thought I'd end up going to an Ivy League. Some of the other kids in my school had already become this crazy, hyper-competitive battle to become valedictorian. I didn't think I had a shot at competing with them, and to be honest, I didn't want to study 24/7. I still wanted to be able to watch TV and hang out with my friends. I also knew I wasn't the kind of kid who gets a perfect score on the SAT, and I wasn't anywhere close to being popular enough to get elected class president. I wanted to be part of the cool crowd, but I wasn't great at sports, and I didn't really know how to talk to girls. But I also wasn't a nerd, at least not smart enough to hang out with the kids shooting for top colleges. I wasn't one of those natural-born geniuses who gets top grades without trying. To be honest, I felt kind of stuck. Like I didn't really fit in anywhere. But don't get me wrong, I still cared about my future, and I saw the entire college application process as a major roadblock standing in the way. My parents and teachers were constantly pushing me. And as much as I hated that, I still wanted to make them proud. I also wanted to impress my friends, because it started to become something everyone was always talking about. And it drove me crazy. But some small part of me, I hate to admit this, but it's true, really wanted to be one of those success stories people were always talking about. I just knew I had to find a way to do it all without going crazy. I ended up getting really lucky though. I did something that made college admission officers say, "We just have to accept this kid." You probably want to know what it is. I wrote my college essay about lobbying government delegates at a United Nations conference in South Africa. They were used to getting college essays about the model UN, so seeing the real UN kind of stood out. So I did what you might expect. I milked that for everything I could. I got some of those delegates to write my letters of recommendation. And I made sure that my college application talked about all the leadership stuff I did in the group that sent me to that conference. Now, I'm not trying to brag here, but I really do want to show you the power of finding that small pond where you could be the big fish. The key to it all is really, I think, going outside the system to find something you truly care about. It's just that it's also got to be impressive and really, really interesting. This is a strategy that really worked for me. I mean, I ended up getting into Columbia, right? Like I said, I'll be talking with lots of other college admissions experts. One of the things we'll do is look at my story and plenty of others to figure out what works and what doesn't. I'm hoping that by doing this, we'll help you figure out what you should be doing to get into your reach schools. If you're wondering why I'm doing the College Admissions Toolbox podcast, it's because I wish I had something like this back when I was applying to college. Now, I'm going to step back and be real for a second. I honestly don't know how this podcast thing is going to turn out. I've been working in college admissions for over 10 years now, but I've never done a podcast. This is just me, Steve Schwartz, recording this out of my apartment in Brooklyn. Now, I want to apologize in advance. In some of the episodes, my microphone quality is going to be a little off. One other thing you should know is that I live next to a school. So if you hear background noise, something like kids playing and screaming, that's what those sounds are. Don't worry. Nothing bad's happening over there, at least as far as I know. And I'm sure I'm going to make plenty of other mistakes along the way. And I hope you'll stick with me as we figure this thing out. I want to talk for a second about what this podcast won't be. It's not going to be like something you might hear on the radio. It's not going to be all polished and professional, like the boring, vague stuff you see in pamphlets and guidebooks. Instead, it's going to be uncensored and raw. This is all about sharing real stories from real people. After all, applying to college is scary, but it can also be kind of exciting. We're going to get to hear these experts share real mistakes they've seen students make and how they got past those mistakes. We'll also hear about their successes and, most importantly, the keys to those successes. One of the things I'm really looking forward to is the interviews with former Ivy League admission officers. You're going to get to hear them share some real nuggets about what it's like on the inside. I'm also going to interview students who got perfect scores on the SAT, and you're going to learn how they got those huge score increases. I'll even interview people who got hundreds of thousands of dollars in scholarship money. Because one of the hardest things about the college process is finding the money to pay for it all. I was only able to get the scholarships I needed after I figured out how to present myself and what I'd done in the best possible way. So now, I want to give you a free worksheet I made. It's based on my experience working with thousands of high school students. I'm sharing it with you because I really think it's going to help you turn your achievements into scholarship money. So get your free worksheet at www.collegeadmissionstoolbox.com/scholarship. I'm honestly really excited to share this podcast with you. We have a lot of great stuff coming up. You'll be getting 2 episodes a week for the next 8 weeks, just so we can kind of kick things off with a bang. After that, in the long run, you'll be getting 1 new episode a week. Before you go anywhere, I want to make sure you remember to subscribe to College Admissions Toolbox. I don't want you to miss any new episodes as I release them. Also, make sure you check out the website I put together, collegeadmissionstoolbox.com. There, you're going to get to listen to the show and find links to all the websites and books we talk about. You're really going to love the episodes we have coming up. I got to chat with former admission officers from Ivy League schools, and their stories, well, let's just say they had some great stories. I'm really excited for you to listen to these episodes, and I'm glad you're joining me on this podcast. Thanks for listening to College Admissions Toolbox. Head over to www.collegeadmissionstoolbox.com to get more free tools and resources that will help you get into the colleges of your dreams.